members of this august body, I enjoin everyone to support House Bill number 10841, a vital measure that seeks to modernize and strengthen the Philippine Coast Guard through comprehensive policy and organizational reforms. At a time when our nation faces increasing challenges in safeguarding our maritime territory, this bill ensures that the PCG is equipped with the tools and resources to fulfill its mandate effectively. The importance of maritime security cannot be overstated, Mr. Speaker. Everyone knows fully well how much our fisherfolk and PCG personnel have suffered over the past few months because of the harassment and aggressive maneuvers of the Chinese Coast Guard in our very own waters. Firm in our stance against these unlawful acts, but from the perspective of diplomacy and international support, we remain committed to enhancing instead our defense and surveillance capabilities and strengthening the coordination between government agencies and international partners. Mr. Speaker, this bill is a culmination of such efforts. By empowering the PCG, this legislation reinforces our commitment to assert our sovereignty and protect our maritime waters, ensuring the safety of our fishermen and coastal communities. With modernized assets, enhanced personal training, and improved funding mechanism, the PCG will be better positioned to respond swiftly and decisively to emerging threats. In our ongoing fight to assert our sovereignty in the West Philippine Sea, House Bill number 10841 is both timely and necessary. It strengthens the PCG's role as the first line of defense in maritime security while positioning the Philippines as a responsible maritime nation. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, I urge everybody to prioritize the swift passage of this bill for our future and the future of our children. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and good afternoon.
Thank you, Honorable Tulfo. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the Honorable Rufus Rodriguez of Cagayan de Oro for his manifestation.
The Honorable Rufus Rodriguez.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Mr. Speaker, I stand here before this august chamber to support and manifest the support of this representation, not only as co-author of this very vital bill, but to be able to appeal to our distinguished members to unanimously join hands together to be able to support this bill. Mr. Speaker, the Philippine Constitution has 17 articles. It starts with the preamble, and then we have national territory. Article 1 of the Constitution is national territory ahead of Declaration of Principles and State Policies. And why is that so? Because the primordial goal of a government is to protect its integrity, its territorial integrity, and to protect the people of the Republic of the Philippines. That is why this bill will assure us that another agency of government, aside from the Armed Forces of the Philippines, the Philippine Navy, we have the Philippine Coast Guard, Mr. Speaker. Because after all, the Philippine Coast Guard is in charge of maritime safety and security of our country. We see China, the bully of Asia, always intruding in our West Philippine Sea. The 1981 United Nations Convention of the Law of the Seas is very clear. The exclusive economic zone is from the baselines 200 miles nautical zone, and that is where, according to the UNCLOS of 1981, there is sovereign rights of a nation under the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Seas. And we filed a case during the time of the late President Pinoy Aquino. We filed a case against China, Mr. Speaker, in the International Arbitrary Tribunal in Den Haag, Netherlands. The result was very, very clear, Mr. Speaker. China lost all its points. The Philippines won all the 8 points that we brought about in our case. And therefore, it has been ruled by an international tribunal that the 9-dash line of China has no basis in law and in fact. Hainan is more than 1,000 nautical miles away. We have 200 miles that we have. And so therefore, Mr. Speaker, this is very opportune, and I'm very happy that it is now on the floor, because there is a felt need to immediately support our Philippine Coast Guard. Through what means? First, by elevating the positions to the similar positions and ranks of the same uniformed services helping our country. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, we are going to open and establish the PCG Modernization Trust Fund. And we will be appropriating, in the appropriations provision, we'll be appropriating, Mr. Speaker, 1 billion a year after we give them from the funds now for this current year. And they are allowed, Mr. Speaker, as approved by the Ways and Means Committee, they are allowed to receive donations, bequests, and grants. And secondly, thirdly, they are able to get loans, Mr. Speaker, so that they will modernize the Philippine Coast Guard and its men and women in terms of benefits. Mr. Speaker, this particular bill is opportune also because the bill of the House of Representatives, the Maritime Act bill, the Maritime Act of the Philippines, has already been approved by both chamber through two BICAM. It will be soon sent to the President of the Republic of the Philippines for signature. And then we declare in law not only international declaration of the UNCLOS and the Tribunal, we are going to therefore enlarge our national territory article by now stating clearly that the 200 miles economic zone is the maritime zone of our country where the Philippines has sovereignty, Mr. Speaker. Second, we just approved in the BICAM the Archipelagic Sea Lanes Bill, which will be sent probably next week to the President for signature. This Archipelagic Bill, which I am a co-principal author, and the Maritime Bill, which I am the principal author for the past three Congresses. Mr. Speaker, this Archipelagic Sea Lanes Bill will only allow three lanes for the Chinese to pass. Now they go to near Batanes, they now go to near Basilan, they go everywhere. These Chinese vessels, they are swarming over not only the West Philippine Sea, but they are near our baselines. And they will pass through in the guise of innocent passage. Not anymore, Mr. Speaker, because now they cannot enter our internal waters. Internal waters are bays. These are bays where when you close the bay, that is internal waters. Now, our archipelagic waters, indeed, under the freedom of navigation in international maritime law, they can pass. However, Mr. Speaker, they can only use 3 of designated lanes by the office of the President. So they cannot just go anywhere. And when they deviate 20 nautical miles away, they will be apprehended by the Philippine Coast Guard led by Commodore Gavan, Mr. Speaker. Sorry, Admiral. Please correct the record. Because we have Admiral Gavan here and we have the Commodore. So, it's very clear that with this bills becoming law and this bill of the PCG becoming law, under the leadership of Admiral Gavan, we can rest be assured that we have a fighting Philippine Coast Guard that will implement our national territory provisions and then implement our Philippine Maritime Zone Act and implement the archipelagic sea lanes of the Republic of the Philippines. Therefore, no agency today in this present setup, in this present problem that we face, but the Philippine Coast Guard that we have to depend on, Mr. Speaker. And that is why I earnestly ask all of our distinguished colleagues to show our unanimous support to the approval of the bill and act strengthening the Philippine Coast Guard of the Philippines. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Welcome again to Admiral Gavan and all these gentlemen and ladies here. Good afternoon to everyone. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.